I don't know how late you stayed up last night, but I was sitting in an airport terminal in Tuscaloosa until the wee hours of the morning waiting for weather to move through. And that is where I watched Stanford beat Florida State. What? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Florida State, the team that drug Alabama in week 1, is now 3-4. Mike Norvell has 9 straight ACC losses. How in the world does that happen? Pete Nakos, roaming the halls earlier today here in this very building, said earlier decision makers are holding informal calls to discuss Mike Norvell's future. Translation, do we want to fire him? You don't need to debate whether this performance is fireable. Of course it is. Of course it's not good enough. But that's why buyouts exist. Buyouts are baked into contracts, well, number one, to fleece athletic directors, jackpot, and number two, to make sure there are no knee-jerk emotional decisions that are made, because those decisions cost a lot of money. Well, here we are. We've got a decision that would cost a whole lot of money. In fact, $54 million looks to be the buyout, and when you add it all up, the cost that it takes to get rid of an entire staff, the cost to hire new staff, FSU's having to make about a $100 million decision here. Do they want to make that decision? Can they afford to make that decision? One of the key debate topics over on War Chant earlier today, because I was looking at the message board, is can we afford to fire Mike Norvell? And of course, the logical follow-up is, can we afford not to fire Mike Norvell? I have no idea what the future is here, because it's not built on anything. And yet again, I have to preface all this with, we went down there in the spring, we had Mike on the show, and I said last week, and I will say again this week, I think they exhausted every option that they thought they could exhaust. He made new hires. I think they pressed 37 different buttons after last year. And I fully believe to this moment that he was adamant when he said, I believe we made the right moves. Just like with Napier, he said, I believe me calling plays gives us the best chance to win. Both of those guys, I believe were being fully honest when they said that on this show. I think Billy was wrong, and he's lost his job because of that. I don't know that Mike was able to press enough buttons to change last year in 1 year. Hey, really quick timeout. We'll get right back to the video. Do me one favor. Make sure you're subscribed. It helps us keep the show free. It helps us keep the lights on. It helps us keep doing college football year-round, and we appreciate it. All right, back to the video. The problem here is, what's the future built on? Let's say I retain Mike Norvell. Give him another year. What am I giving him another year to do? I know my donors aren't going to invest in NIL because they already have, and this is what we've got. And we don't have a future built on in-house recruiting. We've got a future built on the portal. We're just going to portal every year. So there's really no sustainable model here. And I have the one result in 2023. It looks to clearly be the outlier. 2022, he went 10-3. 2023 was 13-1. And since then, he's won 5 games combined over a year and a half. And it's not good enough. The Florida State job is an interesting conversation. It's interesting because James Franklin just got fired at Penn State. And he's just hanging out down there at 30A on the Florida Gulf Coast, where everyone except me tends to hang out. I'm a Panama City Beach guy. Sorry. Can't hide it. Can't hide it. But James Franklin's just down the road. What if you could have James Franklin today? Because you can, if your job's open. Would that be an upgrade? I think it would be an upgrade. Would it be a fit? Yeah, I think it'd be a fit. Would he take it in a heartbeat? That's the conversation that I've heard today. Now, there's some other names out there. I'll let Nakos report on that. There's some other names I've heard. Maybe interest, maybe not. You also don't know, like, what's the future of the ACC? What's the future of Florida State as a program? Those are questions you have to ask there that you don't have to ask, like if you're taking a Big Ten job or an SEC job. Now, I think they'll be fine. Like, Florida State's going to be fine. Whatever situation arises, they'll end up on the better end of it. But you like to know all the external factors, all the unknowables you largely like to have in order, and you may not have that. But look, if you're James Franklin, you're taking that job. So the bottom line is, and I think we're going to get movement on this pretty quickly one way or the other, either they're going to back him and they're going to get behind him, or they're going to let him go. They got a bye week this upcoming week. My guess is they're going to let him go. My guess is Mike Norvell is going to be done at Florida State. That's the best information I have. And again, think about what we're in the middle of. They're not done losing games, obviously. So if it's not this week, it'll be eventually. Think about what we're in the middle of. Think about how many big jobs are coming open. It's insane. You never could have predicted this. I was talking to someone last night who is intimately, like in the weeds on this stuff. And he said, we don't know. It's a day-to-day thing. Like he said, if you were to have told me 72 hours ago what I'm hearing right now, I would have thought you were crazy 72 hours ago. He's right. He's right. We made 2 stops yesterday. 2 stops, as it turns out. One of them was on the record. One of them was a little off the record covert trip. I'll talk about it later. But we went to Vanderbilt on the record yesterday. And the Vanderbilt game was amazing. And I say the Vanderbilt game because they controlled the whole thing. And we went right down the road here in Nashville, Tennessee, College Football City, USA, as of basically the last 2 years. And we watched it. LSU was in town. We watched Vandy. Very, very pumped crowd over there. Amazing transformation in that stadium, by the way. For those of you who have gone to a Vandy game like 8 years ago, you need to go. You need to revisit Commodore Stadium over there. You need to revisit Vanderbilt Stadium. Amazing looking. Very futuristic, too, at least in the end zones. So, Quick Trip fueled us, and we went there yesterday. I promised a historic tour announcement to start the show. And the historic tour announcement is, to my knowledge, I don't think we've ever gone to the same location back-to-back weeks. But trends are made to be broken. We are going back to Vanderbilt this week. Missouri in town against Vanderbilt. Jesse, is that a top 15 matchup? I know Vanderbilt's in the top 10 this week. Has Drink upheld his end of the bargain? Is he in the top 15? Yes, he is. It's a top 15 matchup. Game day's in town. It's the game of the week. But here's why I'm really doing this. Here's why I'm being so demonstrative, rather. Because I think we'll get some criticism for this. And what I'm really trying to do, for Barton Simmons more so than for myself, is I'm trying to bait someone into labeling me a Vandy homer. The allegations of Vanderbilt homerism, if I could get that floated my way, I would enjoy it. Because I will screenshot it to death, and I will send it over to that building, and I will just say, see, I told you no one had your back more than me. It was a great day yesterday. They made us want to come back. Let me put it that way. And so we're going to be back there. And I've already informed certain very, very high-profile people at Missouri, some of whom are even pictured on this graphic. They are winless with varying degrees of our tour in town. So something's got to give Saturday. Something's got to give. We'll see. Missouri in town.